I'ma do my own thing. Yeah.
Welcome back to FTL. It's been a while. It's been over a year. I'm Cameron Keene. We got Ty Richardson right here. He came down to from Arkansas to here, Dallas, Texas. We're going to be talking to you guys about a couple things tonight. We're going to discuss No Strings Attached. Was a fantastic rom-com.
Great flick.
And we're going to discuss relationships and dating in the modern age for people our age. Consider this the love version, the love podcast of FTL. Before we start, though, we do want to say that if you watched the last episode, You was the main subject, and we have fantastic news. You Season 2 is coming December 26th. Late Christmas present.
Late Christmas
you
present.
Excited, Ty?
I am so excited. I know I sent you that interview of Elizabeth Yale talking with chicks in the office on Barstool. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a wild Season 2. If you have seen You Season 1, that was a very addicting TV show. And it was originally on Lifetime. Netflix ended up getting the contract, and it just blew up. Very creepy. Extremely the creepiest show that we've ever watched. Yeah, you'd say.
No, it's seriously the creepiest show I've ever seen.
So I like Penn Badgley is like he goes from being Dan in Gossip Girl to what's his character in You again? Joe. Joe. Yeah, Joe. And it's just completely different characters. It's really where there's always these conspiracy theories of how he ended up from that character to that character, but a wild sequence. But again, that'll be December 26th. So the first subject we're going to hit on Failure to Launch is No Strings Attached. This is a great rom-com flick that Keen and I have both watched. It's funny. The number of times I've been over to Keen's house for Dallas weekend, Jimmy Buffett, random events, it always seems to be on TV at like 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm like trying to go to bed. So I end up watching it.
You can't go to bed with it on. Yeah, you got to finish the movie.
I finally got this kid to watch it, a couple months ago, and you're like, dude, I love this movie. This is what rom-coms are. And he was instantly hooked after that. So it's got a good cast. Ashton Kutcher, Natalie Portman, my guy, Ludacris. It's got Jake Johnson, who is in New Girl, who's fantastic in New Girl, and it's just a great movie, man. It's definitely better than the co-part, which is Friends with Benefits with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis.
Yeah, actually, fun fact about that: the original name of the movie was not supposed to be No Strings Attached. It was actually supposed to be called Buddies. And I can't make this up. And then they were also looking at calling it Friends with Benefits, and because obviously the Friends with Benefits was already being made, they didn't call it that.
I did not know that.
Strings Attached, which I think is a much more appropriate name, and I think moms around the world are happy that they named it.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the movie's PG-13. I think if you called it Buddies, it would have to automatically
it would be R. And it'd be R for a movie that has honestly no nudity. There's anything wrong with it. There's some savage remarks made, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, it's just absolutely fantastic. So let's get in. Let's go and get into it. You actually did your homework and watched it, last night?
Yeah, I had to watch it last night. It had been a while since I've seen it. And I love this rom-com, man. I actually have only recently really started to like rom-coms, but this is a classic one, and it's one that I think it's hard not to like.
So I just downloaded Disney Plus. I was gonna watch No Strings Attached, but 10 Things I Hate About You was on Disney Plus, so I watched that last night. But I've seen No Strings Attached at least like 15 times. It's a great flick. Ashton Kutcher is fantastic in the film. When you initially watched it, I know you watched it last night, but what initially stood out to you when you watched it for the first time?
I'm a big fan of Natalie Portman.
Yeah, great girl.
That was the first thing that stood out to me. After that, though, I think...
but she's not blonde, though. That's what...
She's not, but that's okay.
It's weird for you.
That's okay. No, I think the first thing that stuck out to me about this one, though, is that it actually tackles some really serious issues in relationships and, in interpersonal relationships, too, not just the dating life. And I really thought that was cool for the movie to tackle that. It brought some of that out. And a lot of other rom-coms, I think, are kind of more, just having a good time, frou-frou, fun stuff. So that's what I really liked about this one. What about you?
Obviously it's pretty funny. I'm a big Ashton Kutcher guy. I loved that 70s show growing up, and he's great as Kelso. And you think about some of the other movies. What Happens in Vegas is another good movie he's in. It's with Cameron Diaz. That's a pretty funny rom-com. But I think, kind of like you're talking about, it's got like serious overtones to it. The premise, for those who do, and I won't spoil the ending, but the premise is this kid's mom dies. And did she die or did she get divorced? She dies, right?
Which movie was that?
I'm talking about Ashton's mom in the movie, Adam's mom. She passed away, right? I'm thinking of.
She wasn't even in the movie.
I know, but did she pass away? It's been a while since I've actually seen this.
So Ashton's mom, I don't think passed away. I think what you might be talking about is the funeral scene where Natalie Portman takes Ashton to. She says when she meets Ashton that it's just a thing. She says, or I shouldn't say Ashton. I should actually
Adam.
say his name in the movie, Adam. So anyway, if you're not familiar, Natalie Portman's name in the movie is Emma. And when Emma meets Adam, they actually met at 14 at a camp and hooked up at the bright young age of 14.
Didn't hook up. He asked her.
No, well, later on in the movie, she said that they hooked up at camp. It was a small detail. You gotta focus, man.
What did she say?
You gotta focus. She said it was just some guy that I hooked up with like 10 years ago, I think, was the actual date that she gave when she says the quote, which puts it right around the camp time. Anyway, later on she meets him again in college, and they hook up again. And then after they hook up, she says, "Hey, do you want to come to some little thing with me? Not a big deal, like a little meeting the next day." And our guy Adam just he shows up in a hoodie to a funeral.
Michigan hoodie, big Wolverine guy.
Big yellow hoodie at the funeral. He stuck out like a sore thumb, but he was there for her, and that's what matters. But she didn't really care either.
And she's pretty low key in the movie too. She's not a big relationship girl.
She's in fact the opposite of a big relationship.
And her little sister gets engaged, and she's wondering like, "Are you ready? Is it okay?" And then her little sister, in a sense, kind of convinces her, it's like, "Hey, you need to take a chance on this." But the funniest thing, and I guess if you're still listening at this point, we can kind of reveal some spoilers. I think the funniest scene to me was when they go out on that date, they have the milkshake and they go out for ice cream, and then after they're walking around the like kind of Greek pillar type thing. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, at the end, yeah.
I don't know what that city
Great
is supposed
scene.
to be.
They're dating. It was the
and
first
just
date.
and he's just like, "I like you. We should go out and stuff." And she starts screaming, "Why can't we just have sex?" And it's making like a big scene and everything. It's so funny because it's usually like the inverse of that. The guy's the one that wants a non-serious relationship, and the girl's wants a serious one. But this one, Adam ends up falling in love for Emma, and it's the complete opposite of what the kind of the stigma is in today's society. But it's just, there's so many like great one-liners. If you watch New Girl, Jake Johnson's in the movie as well, and he is hysterical in this movie. Like there's so many little retorts and stuff that he has to Adam and stuff. But you were talking about funny scenes. The funniest thing in the movie is that one scene that you sent me earlier today.
The one where she's saying to you didn't have sex with anyone in the apartment, right?
That one's pretty good. Or the balloon
Here, we'll
scene.
toss that in.
You feeling any better?
Did I have sex with anyone in this apartment last night?
No, you didn't. Oh, sorry. You didn't.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that was a good one.
The balloon scene was great too.
The balloon scene. Oh, you sent me that. I love that. That's a classic.
It's for you.
Congrats. For what? Having sex with you?
Yeah, you did a good job, so I thought you deserved a balloon.
But yeah, so that was a classic scene. That really was a classic scene. There's a couple other really good scenes we can touch on. Yeah, so congrats on the sex, as you said. I thought it was pretty funny too when they started the deal to really start hooking up, and they started hanging out a lot. They're both betting that each other will be the first one to fall and to ruin the whole just having sex thing. And he bet it was her. And in the end, I think it really was her, because he wanted something more, but it wasn't killing him. But then the second they said to stop, he was like, "Okay, I'll stop." And she really couldn't put up with it.
And he started kind of dating one of his coworkers, and
the producer lady.
I mean, you knew it was going to happen in the end. It's just like every other not every other rom-com movie, but like
No, every other rom-com. There's a reason we watch these because you know exactly what's going to happen.
There's a plot, the storyline, and then the conclusion. And most of the time, 99 times out of 100, you can guess the conclusion. The conclusion ends up happening. But I think the way that the conclusion came about, at the beginning of the movie, Adam is dating this one girl. They broke up, and then she ends up dating his father, which is...
Yeah, and then if you notice at the very end of the movie, the producer lady that he was starting to date, also with his dad at the very end of the movie, is a hell of a plot twist right there.
Great Scott.
Great Scott
is his line.
But with the end there, that was really rough when they kind of stopped dating, and he thought he was ready to move on. I guess he didn't want to, but he felt forced to, and she wanted him back. She really noticed, and the most savage line of the whole movie was at the end there when she calls him and says that I want to see you again, I miss you, or whatever she says. And he just says we were never together because they had never actually started technically dating or being exclusive. And that's just, that hit home for everyone.
Savage.
Yeah.
Say that to a girl. I mean, that's rough.
It's not what you want to hear when you call someone and tell them you want to see them again.
No, absolutely not. So any other things you want to circle back on?
No, I mean, I think, a couple little fun facts about the movie. The director of the movie had a cameo in the movie as the director of the show Adam was working on, which was obviously Ashton Kutcher, and that was pretty interesting. And then, we got to touch on this Luda thing first, though. You can't put a rapper in a movie and just not expect it to get talked about. The fun facts on this guy are crazy. So, in this movie, he uses his own cognac when they started drinking in that bar scene. And also, when he's taking the picture of, you remember when Adam was trying to make Natalie Portman's character jealous, Emma?
When he's taking pictures of the two girls.
Yeah, with the two girls, he's holding on to them. So he leans back and says "Happy Holidays," which is a line from one of his songs from 2001, which just cracked me up. I mean, the little tidbits they put in there from Luda were just classic.
He's obviously been in a lot of the Fast and Furious movies, if not every single one of the Fast and Furious movie. He's in that. Is there another movie that we're forgetting that he's been in? I'm sure.
I mean, he acts. Yeah. This guy acts. He's not just a music guy. He acts definitely. So I'm sure there's a couple other songs, or movies. I'm sorry. Unless there's any other, do you have any other comments for?
As far as that one goes,
overall thoughts: 0 out of 10, 10 out of 10. What are you thinking?
Probably a solid 7 or 8. I mean, it's up there for me. That's one of my.
I'll take that. You know what? I'll push that 8.5.
Okay.
I'll push that to an 8.5.
You're gonna give it a point, yeah. I just wish I could go into like a bunch of these different, like compare them, but you're still at the point where you haven't seen a lot of these movies, so it's hard to
I mean, it's hard to push through them, man. There's a lot of them, and when you want to watch a certain one, it's not streaming, and it's just kind of a difficult thing.
So which ones have you seen that I can like compare them to see if like you rank them? Like, just try and pop some off real quick that you've seen. Just
rom-coms that I've seen. Well, I mean, obviously we watched your favorite rom-com ever.
Second, but Stuck in Love.
Stuck in Love.
Lily Collins.
We watched that. I watched a couple of the ones you recommend. What was the one in the, it was a 80s high school.
Oh, you watched that?
Yeah.
Can't Buy Me Love?
Yeah.
You watched that?
That was a classic.
What'd you think?
It was pretty good.
Young Patrick Dempsey?
I didn't expect him to pull through. His character, I thought, was going to take a fat L. But the guy pulled through.
Nerd to cool, or what do they call him? They call him, in the 80s, there's a word that chic, I think is the word that they use. I don't
know. My 80s knowledge is pretty low. Yeah. It could be true.
They said that, and I was just like, what does that mean? It's like, apparently that was a word for cool back in the 80s. So
really? That's groovy, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think I have no closing comments. Cool. Awesome. Well, we will, after this break, we're going to have a little ad. Please watch the ad. It's where we get all of our revenue.
Yeah.
And then after that, we will be back with segment 2. So stay tuned.
Are you tired of waiting for matches to begin sending desperate, embarrassing, or aggressive messages? Try Hinge. With Hinge, you don't need the other party's consent to begin sending messages to your heart's content. You can send desperate ones like these, aggressive ones like these, and even plain embarrassing ones like these. With Hinge, it's so easy. Download Hinge and start messaging today.
Welcome back here at FTL. We have segment 2 coming in hot, and this one is talking about our dating life and what it's like
Or
to
lack
date
thereof. Yeah.
lack thereof, and what it's like to date at mid-20s.
You're gonna have to
experiences that we're having.
You're gonna have to be the leader of this one, considering you're the one that's had the girlfriends, and I've just had the flings. So you're gonna have to kind of be the captain of the ship.
We're talking mid-20s here. No GFs in the mid-20s.
I guess
We're talking mid-20s here.
Yeah.
This is a whole new ball game we're talking about. We've got people swiping. We've got people married, and we've got people that don't know what a girlfriend is. And it's a very wild mix.
Since we're talking about that, I was actually thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Freshman roommate, married. Sophomore roommate, married with kid, with another kid on the way. Junior roommate, 2 are married. 1, I don't know about the other one. Senior roommates, 1 is married, 1's probably getting, or sorry, 1 is engaged, another one's probably going to get engaged in a year or 2. That's 5 or 6 dudes
Married.
that are like
They're married.
way ahead of life. And
They've got a gold band on their finger.
we were talking to your dad about this. Your dad was like, dude, 29, 30, that's your wheelhouse. That's when you need to get on that. My dad got married when I was 29. When did GK get married?
GK got married, I believe. This is bad. Hopefully he doesn't see this. I want to say 28.
Okay, so
I think so. He
right
was
around
up there.
there.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, we're gonna have a moment of silence for those guys that are married. So they needed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
life,
think he
happy
got
life.
married 28. Love you, Dad. You're a good dude. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we're working with here. You know, it's a very diverse field. People are doing different things. Some people are married, some people are single, and I think also the time, not just the time period of our lives that we're in mid-20s, but the time period that we're in. 2010s. There's a whole lot of different variables with the whole dating thing. You've got people that are at the bars, getting hammered, trying to just say hi to anything that moves. And you've got people that don't go to the bars. They don't even want to leave their room, and they just sit there and they start swiping. And I think some people have kind of turned that into dependency. I don't know if you've noticed that at all with anyone that you know, but it's been really interesting kind of seeing the social dynamic of that. We wanted to really touch on the whole dating app thing, though, right?
Far away, dude.
And so we have a couple stories because we've all been there on a dating app, and you make a swipe, or whatever you want to call it, and you make a match, and you kind of be like, oh, this person might actually end up being pretty cool, and then you find out that they're just not, and that's happened. That's happened to all of us that use those. If you don't use those, honestly, you're probably a better person. So congrats. But let's dive into a couple of stories. I'm sure you have some stories. I've got some stories. But to kick that off, I've got a really funny story that happened recently. One of my friends jumped into a Bumble date. She had been talking to this guy for about a week, and things seemed great. He seemed like a great guy. And so she was really excited about this. Well, they went on the date, and it went so well that she decided to take him to a birthday party that was going on, I believe. And so we were all hanging out that night, or it was a housewarming, something like that. But we were all hanging out, and seemed like a good dude, kind of a funky vibe. But he seemed like a cool guy. We all went out and hit the bars, and he kind of started saying some weird things, and then all of a sudden he started hitting on other girls that he didn't come with. He hit on one of the girls in our friend group, actually, almost immediately, which was just, I don't think anyone was upset about that. We were just like, wow. But the poor girl that brought him on the date, I don't think she really noticed what was going on, but it was tough. It was tough to watch. And so anyway, we got out to the bar, and it turns out that he is hitting on like a couple other people. And at this point, we're all sitting there like, it's not cool, man. Like, what are you doing? Come on. And he, before we got to the bar, one of her friends jumps in the car and leaves her jacket in the car. And he says, just leave your jacket there. Not a big deal. You can get it later before we leave, or I can just bring it to you, in the morning. Like, not a problem, right?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't think anything of that. I'll leave my jacket in anyone's car. I don't guess, as long as you're a cool person. Turns out that was a terrible move. She, the next day, texts him saying, oh, my bad, before I lose this, he went home. And so then the next day, the friend of the friend texts him saying, hey, can I have my jacket back? He says, sure, but I don't want you to drive so far. Why don't we just meet up? Proposes a dinner place. She says, I don't want to go to dinner. And then he freaks out on her and says, literally, I want to spend time with you. And then she says, no, I just want my jacket. So what do you think's going to happen here?
Cops get called?
No cops. It wasn't that point yet. But she gets blocked on everything. And now, here's the real twist. After this, he goes and adds every single other person from her friend group, including me, on Snapchat.
That's an interesting guy.
Hell of a game plan. No one could have seen it coming. I really don't know what he was doing, but he was playing the field like Saban. I mean, the guy was just, I don't know what his game plan was, but I'm sure he was killing it. Nick Saban. He had the game plan.
You're talking about like Jake Saban.
No, but he had the game plan like Nick Saban, and I couldn't see it. I didn't see the vision at all. But he had a vision, and none of us liked it. So we all blocked him, and she ended up driving over to his place to grab the jacket, and he acted like he had woken up from a nap, which, you got to watch out with those swipes, man.
Okay, so you mentioned Snap follows and like following people on Snap. Here's a question for you that we can post. When it comes to adding a girl on Snap or adding a girl on Instagram, when is the appropriate time to do that, Yoda?
Don't hit me with that.
When is the appropriate time? Is it after the first time you meet, second time, third time? Like, when is the right time to add someone on social media?
It's a comfort thing, right? It just depends on where
you
are. Yeah, it's all about the vibe, man. If the vibe's there, then add it. I mean, if you shoot someone a text and she doesn't respond,
don't it?
You probably don't want to add that. That's a bad ad right there.
Yeah, don't do that.
We've all had crazy ads. Everyone, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but generally don't do that.
Okay.
So I think that's
common sense rule, yeah.
Common sense rule, exactly. I mean, the same thing with like an Insta follow. So, you just want to be careful with those.
Yeah. The worst Insta follows are when someone's private, they allow you to follow them and then they don't follow you back. You ever gotten one of those?
Yeah, I've gotten a couple of those. Yeah, we've discussed them.
Those hurt.
Those hit different. They sting, man. You don't want one
extra.
Especially, when
you had one of those in Nashville, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. A couple of those from Nashville. He had a friend group that we all went out with, and I actually posted a video with them tagged, added them, and I think two of them out of everyone that I had tagged followed me back. The rest of them did not want to see the video. It was tough.
That's just a tough thing.
It was tough. I put all that production in there, and then
it's a great video.
Some people just don't want to see they don't want to see a good video.
It's a Foolin Films production, by the way. I mean, whether it's the Nashville, we haven't done one New Year's. We usually did one for Dallas weekend. We never did one for Buffett weekend because I feel like we were too inebriated.
There's no film that you can release from Buffett weekend. That is all top secret, highly classified stuff. That's honestly needs to get.
I will say we had some great pictures from Buffett last year. The parrot, the
parrot. Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
The parrot guy. I don't know. Bob.
Great
good
guy.
Dude.
Great guy.
Parrot Bob. Great guy.
So
great guy. Parrot on a stick. Yeah, it was a good time, man. R.I.P. One of our buddies had a little bit too much before the concert even started, had to go home. There's casualties at these things, and it's just something you got to keep in mind when you're planning.
I hate to see that. God, that concert, man. I hope Jimmy never retires. I hope he's
getting old.
He is,
old.
Dude.
If you haven't been to a Jimmy Buffett concert, we highly recommend them. They're a lot of fun. Make sure you pregame it right.
It's gotta be in Dallas too. Like you gotta go.
Dallas is the big one. Dallas is the big one.
And it's
in Jackson now.
Yeah, because it was originally in Frisco at the soccer stadium, but they did it in the Del Frisco or whatever. What did you say it was? Jexa?
And it's at Jexa now, and it used to be at the Frisco soccer, Frisco Toyota Pavilion.
It's like the Dos Equis Pavilion is what it's called, or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Dos Equis, even better.
Yeah.
What a good spot to put a Jimmy Buffett concert.
Great spot.
So that's it for dating. But unless you have anything else to add,
I'm kind of dry. I'm going to
delve into the stories there, but I think it's probably for the best. I don't think you guys want to hear that.
That's more like your expertise, buddy. Remember, I haven't been on. It's more like flings and stuff with me. It's not.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with the fling. It's 2019, dude.
It's 2019.
It's 2019. Nothing wrong with a fling.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you want to hit on before we close up shop, dude?
No, we appreciate you guys watching this thing. Go back to the ad, watch it again, make sure we get that revenue. But
we need all we can get.
We need all we can get. We're hungry people.
Witnesses say it began earlier inside the Popeyes when the woman was disputing a charge on her bill. A heated argument began between the customer and several Popeyes employees.
All right, third segment here on Failure to Launch. Since it is a food category, I felt like that it was my domain to lead it off, considering I've eaten everything under the sun since I've been alive. You wanted to do chicken sandwich wars, and there's been a huge debate as of late between Popeyes, Chick-fil-A. Who is the king of the chicken sandwich? I'll let you lead this one off, bud.
It's a crisis out there. People are dying in the streets. We're reporting from FTL headquarters.
Legitimately,
there are people dying in the streets over these chicken sandwiches, and it's important that you get yourself one and get it safely. You've had crazy traffic reports. I personally myself have seen lines go out into the street, taking up the entire right lane, causing a lot of traffic. I've seen fights, which has been very interesting. And I've seen, it's hard times out there. I've seen depression and despair. These people are just hardened. They've seen bad times.
Rabid.
They've seen bad times, and, they won't stop until they get their chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So before we really jump into this, though, I got to say, man, Chick-fil-A is known for its service, which isn't the taste, and I'll be totally honest about that, but the service is prime. If you need a new car, they will build you a new car in the kitchen. If you go to a Popeyes, they won't do that. They won't even customize an order, personal experience I've had. They won't answer the phone because they don't have one. I've called every single Popeyes in the entire DFW Metroplex. They don't have phones, which was pretty surprising. So just touching on that, it's hard to know where there's a chicken sandwich if there's no phone to call.
Well, I think as far as the service goes, you speak of, when you talk about Chick-fil-A, it's my pleasure, thank you, it's the quick drive-through lines, it's the quick service. With Popeyes,
what the hell do you want?
The service you're thinking of, it's very snappy. And the glorious thing about Popeyes is regardless of what you order, there's always the expectation you might get something different in your box.
It's exciting.
It really is. You get mashed potatoes and gravy. You order green beans, you might get red beans and rice. Yeah. That's kind of the experience with Popeyes.
You might not get chicken. I've seen a firecracker shrimp box come out of a chicken order.
So when he was still in school, they had this big, massive box deal. They were trying to get rid of this select type of chicken, and so we ordered it. The lady's like, hey, we just gave you the last batch. It called for like 15 tenders. She gave us like 30, 2 sides, drinks, and all this crap. It ended up being a lot. Unfortunately, though, the tenders were kind of burnt.
They were a little bit burnt. But for a Sunday tradition where we always sit down and we eat this Popeyes. And
little Popeyes on the table, little Gossip Girl or New Girl on the TV. It was just paradise for us.
It was paradise. And you can't judge that because it's 2019.
Yeah, you can't say that. And luckily, I always tell people, like, why do you like these rom-coms? Why do you like these like teen drama shows? Well, I have 3 stepsisters. You have a sister. That's just your excuse. Like they convinced me that this is good. So I'm kind of, my hands are tied behind my back. Like
I didn't have a choice in this. I was born this way.
Yeah. I can't help it. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I don't have a problem with what, like like you said, it's 2019. That should be your response to any comeback now. It's like, what do you like?
2019. It's 2019. I've been way ahead of that. And you know what I'm really excited for? It's 2020. Because you can't say anything in 2020. It's a whole step above the 2019. It's a whole year, 365.
So back to the chicken debate.
Yeah, so you've had them.
I had my first Popeyes chicken sandwich this week. I had it on Wednesday, first time, liked the sauce, Like the pickles, it was thick, it was still hot. Matty T, my buddy who works with me at ESPN Arkansas, he brought it back. And it was good, man. I enjoyed it. The thing with me, though, if I'm going to compare something, Keen, I got to have the suckers side by side. I got to eat them back to back. Because, like, if you're eating a Chick-fil-A sandwich, it's really good. But if you're eating a Popeyes one, it's really good. In order to make an accurate comparison, an accurate justification on who has the better chicken sandwich, you got to go back to back or you can't do it at all.
Yeah, and I think that's totally fair. But let's touch on one thing real quick you mentioned earlier. You said it was thick. So if how many C's? Like thick, like 8 C's? Are we talking like 2 C's? How thick is this thing?
So you think about some of the bigger chicken sandwiches. I've seen the one for High Fives, which B. Haas always talks about is fantastic. I've never personally had it, but that one's massive.
Okay,
I've seen the one from Walk-Ons, which is a big Louisiana bar and grill that apparently it's just like, it's not that big, but it's like, I mean, it's a good, for $4, it's a good,
chunk of meat.
It's a good sized chicken sandwich. You're not wanting, sometimes Chick-fil-A, as great as the service is, you're left wanting a little bit. The portions, you're like, come on, Chick-fil-A, come on, what are we doing?
Chick-fil-A fills up your soul, but the other places fill up your stomach.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that there's a little battle going on with Popeyes. They bring their chicken sandwich back on Sunday. We know Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday. I mean,
Kanye West made sure we all knew of that.
Yeah, it's
with
a little
the closed on Sundays.
Little back and
forth. You haven't
forth.
heard that? Listen.
Friendly competition, it's good for business. I don't have a problem with it. I'm pretty happy with what things are going so far between Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. I hope some of these other fast food restaurants decide, you know what, our chicken sandwich, it doesn't measure up to them. Let's step up our game
I like
a little
that.
bit.
You know, if you had to say right now, though, with the information you have, would you say that there's going to be a winner in this overall chicken war? Not just Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, but I'm talking everyone that is bringing a chicken sandwich to market today. What is this going to look like 10 years down the road?
Well, I think there's so many different opinions when you look about like different parts of the United States, like California, where your dad's from. He's a huge In-N-Out guy. He think In-N-Out is the king over
In-N-Out is
Whataburger and so many other these different Texas chain restaurants that people just have their go-to spots for where they grew up, where they're from, where they just like to go most of the time. There's always going to be the Popeyes people. There's always going to be the Chick-fil-A people, the Wendy's, the BK, the McDonald's, like wherever. I don't know if there's ever going to be a solid winner of the chicken war based on the fact that we have so many different people that live in the U.S. and so many people that have their own opinions when it comes to chicken.
That's fair. You know, we can't all be right. That means most people are wrong. But it will only take time to see who's going to actually be wrong.
So you keep coming back to the idea that there is one true winner. Who is the true winner?
It's going to take time, buddy.
Right.
It's going to take time. Maybe the next episode when we come out.
Okay.
So, you know, I think this is a pretty good annual podcast. So, you know, there will be a full 365 between this one and the next one. You're going to see some winter, some spring, and then some summer.
And then get fatter in that point.
We'll get fatter. Yeah. We'll definitely put on the weight for these chicken sandwiches. We're doing the research so that you don't have to. Mm-hmm. And then I think when we come back,
the People's Podcast.
It's the People's Podcast. When we come back, we're not communists, but yeah, we're close.
Yeah. Marxist.
When we come back, we will have the answers. And with that, I don't think we have anything else to add. Unless.
No, dude. I think we've definitely figured out.
We've laid down the law.
Yeah. So a failure to launch is an accurate depiction of what we are as human beings. In
the podcast title's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, 100%.
That's we've earned that.
Because we have failed in a lot of different categories of life.
Oh, buddy. Maybe that'll be a good segment. If you guys want to listen to an hour-long segment, that'll be the next one.
What have we failed at in life?
Yeah, what have we failed at? It'll be a very long one. Anyway, I think that's all from us. We really appreciate you guys watching. You know, stay classy, and please tune in 365 with us. We will be touching on the new season of You. We'll be touching on, I'm sure, some other things. I know. Get excited, buddy. Late Christmas. And we will have the answers for the chicken sandwich war. So thank you so much. I'm Cameron. It's Ty, and we'll see you guys soon.
I'ma do my own thing. Yeah.